Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Successful Woman's Mindset. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. I am co-founder of Everyday Woman TV, where you are probably watching this episode right now. One of my favorite things to do in the world is to spotlight women from all over the world that are making a difference in women's lives, in children's lives, in society's lives. I have one of those ladies with me today, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Lynda Tache, and she's the co-founder and CEO of the Collaboration Center Foundation. Welcome, Lynda.
Thank you so much, Galit. It's wonderful to be here.
I love having you on. I will share with you that I have not had anyone on that really speaks about philanthropy and giving back and leaving a legacy. And I definitely believe that you embody that wholeheartedly since the first day I met you, which I think's been over 5-7 years. I don't even know. Lynda is right? It's been at least 5 to 7 years. Lynda lives in Las Vegas, just like me. So we're right around the corner from each other. And I would love if we started with you sharing a little bit about yourself with everybody that's watching and listening.
Yeah, so thank you again for this opportunity. And I really look forward to sharing, information and my passion with everyone that's watching. So first and foremost, I'm a parent of a son that has special needs. He has autism and ADHD and some other challenges going on. But before I had my son, growing up, I was always volunteering. I have a servant heart, and I was always, I did stuff for Special Olympics, Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, anything really I saw where a need was, I wanted to just help and make a difference. So that's kind of how I was growing up anyways. So when my son was born, it kind of was a game changer because it became really personal, right? This cause, became so close to home. So I, right when he was, getting diagnosed, I just really jumped in, and I just, because I was struggling. I struggled so hard, and here I'm educated and I had connections, and I thought, if I'm struggling, what are these other families that can't advocate for themselves or don't have the income, or resources? And so basically, I got involved first off with the autism legislation in the state of Nevada. That was in 2007. And then right after that, I just thought, you know what, I can't go back to corporate world. I need to keep moving forward to make a difference for these families, because as Grant was growing, I was thinking, what can I do, to help families? So 2009, I started my first nonprofit, which ignorance is bliss, knowing what I know now and how hard it is. And, it takes a lot to do it and maintain it and grow it. I started Grant to Gift Autism Foundation. So that was in 2009. And we had a couple programs. We were a volunteer organization, but then we grew and grew. We started hiring therapists, because as Grant was growing up, I saw things that, were needed in the community. And so it grew into an amazing organization. And in 2016, we actually partnered with the School of Medicine and created the Autism Clinic for the practice plan.
Amazing.
So, yeah. So it just,
how many families, I know it's so huge, I can't even comprehend today, but how many families are you guys just helping a year? How many are they helping now a year?
Well, I know. So I transitioned out of running Grant to Gift in 2017, but at that time we were serving over 5,000 children and family members annually. And that was with treatment, support services, vocational training, support groups. So, and I'm sure it's grown even greater since then. So, but it still isn't serving the whole need, right? Because there's so much need out there.
Of course. So tell us a little bit about your journey into your new project, the Collaboration Center and Foundation.
Yes, I love to talk about this. So, Grant, as Grant was growing up, and I transitioned out of Grant to Gift, I started consulting, because I thought, I've learned so much that I need to share this with other nonprofits. And it didn't have to be disability related. So I was helping people start nonprofits, but then if there was a nonprofit that was young and kind of, not doing much, they were kind of in a lull or whatever, I'd actually come in and help them start their business plan, do a launch event, and really get them, really understanding what their programs, mission, vision are, and then really help them get launched, right? So I was starting nonprofits, launching nonprofits. So I ended up getting approached in 2018 about this concept of not just autism or not just Down syndrome, but let's have an disability inclusive campus that families, can really come. It's a destination for them. It's welcoming, and really it's going to give them resources through the whole lifespan and for every family member. So that's a huge undertaking. So we thought, knowing what I knew before with my other nonprofit, how much it took to hire people and, open, more space, we thought, what, if we can collaborate with other organizations, we can build capacity, and it's sustainable. It's so much more sustainable if you have others involved. And I think over the years, that's really been the buzzword, collaborate.
Yes.
But really, right? I mean, because really that's what we need to do. We have to come together to really, solve these issues, right? And so, but a lot of organizations have been around for so long that really their model wasn't initially set up like that. So it's hard to really do that on a large scale. I mean, people are referring, connecting, but really the treatment of collaborating is really not happening. So that was so I was brought in to write the business plan and start their nonprofit.
Of course.
It was an idea. It was writing the plan. There were things in there that I had wanted to do at the other organization that I couldn't because it just didn't fit.
Yeah.
And so, so I started falling in love with it. And then the next thing I'm recruiting board members. I'm recruiting.
I love it.
And then people are saying, well, I'll get involved if you're running it.
Of course. I already said that to you before I got on the call with you.
Yes, exactly. And I just was so invested in it. I had to do it. I had to get involved. So in 2019, we started the nonprofit. 2020, I officially became the president and CEO. And then, we've just done amazing things just in the short period of time. And mind you, this was right when COVID was happening.
Of
so
course.
It's amazing what we've been able to do.
I have to share with you, Lynda, it's amazing to me how many new businesses, organizations, ideas came out of what I call the pause. You are not the first person to say, I just got done telling Lynda about how Everyday Woman got started, which most of you know. March 2020, I have this joke that Angela and I had some free time. I mean, it's really the truth. All of a sudden, it was 4 weeks of not going to the office, not traveling for speaking. My businesses came to a halt because everybody was doing the wait and see. And Angela and I had spoken about it. We actually started our entity in November 2019, but we got busy. Life happened. We put it aside, and March 2020 came, and we're all right, let's go. And it blew up in such a positive way. I really look at the Collaboration Center. It's really going to be almost a campus, isn't it, Lynda?
Yes, it is.
Take us through a little bit of a visual of what you're seeing come together.
Yes, absolutely. So we went back and forth when we knew we would have to have a campus, right? To really house other nonprofits and providers and agencies. So we actually were very fortunate to purchase a 5-acre. It was a horse ranch. We're not doing horses, but
that's what I heard. I heard it was a horse ranch.
And a lot of people, actually, it was a staple in the community. It was called White Horse Youth Ranch, which is still a nonprofit. They're actually operating in another state right now, but it was called that, and it was known as that. And so it was up for sale. And in August of 2020, go figure, what we were just talking about, we had some very, very generous donors step up and funders and say, you know what, we're going to help you get in this. And it was the good news is that it was a significant amount, but the other side is that we still needed to raise some money to get into the property. So during, that time, it was very challenging because we didn't have a lot of history under our belt. And like you said, everybody was wait and see. Donors, who knows what's going to happen with the market. All this stuff was going on, but we got in. We purchased the 5-acre ranch in August of 2020. And then, of course, we had to do a lot of stuff. We had to rezone the property to commercial.
Sure.
There's a 7,500 square foot house that has 7 bedrooms. So we had to make it ADA compliant. And then there's the stables, which are like, oh my gosh, it's like 17,000 square foot stables. They're like unbelievable. And so there's 2 rooms in the front that we're converting to a grab and go cafe so that families, again, we're creating this destination that families will be able to go instead of waiting in a little small clinic room while their kids are getting served. They can go in the cafe, they can, grab a coffee, get a sandwich. And the great thing is that we're going to have people with disabilities actually training and working there as well.
I love that. So what's the goal to have this campus done? What goal are you shooting for?
Yes. And so, and just to add a little bit more to it is that we do have a developmental preschool. So we are serving the whole lifespan. So that's how we're unique as well. So we don't have a drop-off age. So we're going from preschool through treatment, mental health, medical, education, all the way to adult programming. So, and
that'll all be there on location.
Yes, yep, one-stop shop. And so as of right now, we have about 7 facility partners that will be operating on campus, doing, various things. And then the horse arena, the goal, and we still have to raise the money for that. The goal is going to be to make that into a recreation event center for families as well. Have a community pool, pickleball court, basketball, and events. So that's really that's the campus itself. So we were very fortunate, to answer your question about timeline. We were very fortunate to get $6 million from the state. There were a lot of COVID funds that had come down the pipeline. So we got $6 million, and what that's allowing us to do is build infrastructure because we're on well and septic. So we have to bring in more power, utilities. So, and we're going to re-landscape, and we have to pave and do all this stuff. So with that piece, and also the stables, that's what we're looking at to do in that phase. And so that's already started, and we're hoping, if all goes well, to have it finished by January or February of 2023.
That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I would love if you would share a little bit for those that are listening and watching. There's so many people out there that have this inkling, this feeling of, I want to do more. I want to give back. And sometimes that's an overwhelming feeling. My experience with people that are not sure how to, they get a little overwhelmed with the idea, but it doesn't go away. From your experience, having someone that's able to just volunteer maybe 1 or 2 hours a week versus someone that chooses to be on the board and really, or be an employee and be really hands-on, what kind of advice or what kind of ideas can you give those that are watching and listening that say, I want to be a part of something bigger. I'm passionate about whatever it might be that they are.
Yes. That's such a great point. And I think it's really important because I know that all of us are here for a purpose, right? And it's not just to, become successful and then just, kind of live in our own bubble, right? And I think that, all of us really have a responsibility too, to give back in some way. But like you said, everybody has different capacity and time. So there's so many different ways. And I would say if somebody is struggling to figure out what it is that they want to support, I would say look at your family, look at your network. Do you have any friends or family that are struggling from something, right? Do they, is it mental health? Is it a physical challenge? Anything. So I would say look first to see if there's anyone in your personal sphere of influence that might have a challenge that maybe there's an organization that is supporting that, then I would say that's a good place to start. I don't recommend starting your own nonprofit.
Lynda and I just had this conversation right before we got on recording that I know people that want to start their own nonprofit, and good for you. By the way, Lynda does consult. So if you want to start your own nonprofit, you can talk to Lynda about teaching you how. But I was mentioning to Lynda that I've been in philanthropy since the day I was born. I was like you, raised in it. My parents have given back when we had, when we didn't have, when we had again, when we didn't have again. And I said to Lynda, you don't need to worry about me starting a nonprofit. I am happy to support all the ones that I'm passionate about.
Yes, there's a lot of good nonprofits out there, and you just have to search and find. But it's very, very, very consuming to do it yourself. So I would say try to find something that's out there. And then like you're saying, there's so many levels that you can give. We call it the time, talent, and treasure, right? So, if you have the time and resources, of course, board positions are critical to the success of an organization, right? But then also, like with us, we have committees. So let's say somebody, doesn't have the time to do a board position. Well, join a committee. We have events throughout the year. We have, different initiatives, campaigns, awareness campaigns. So that's another way to get involved. You can volunteer, during, with programming, different programs.
So Lynda, I would love it if you told everybody how they could learn more about the Collaboration Center and Foundation. And also if someone is interested in starting their own nonprofit, how they can get a hold of you to learn more about your consulting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, we are always looking for volunteers, committee members, supporters and donors. So you can reach out to us at collablv.org. That's COLLABLV.org. And I would say most importantly, if anybody watching this has a family member or a friend that has a child that either needs to get diagnosed or even, support groups or services, you can also go to our website and reach out to our free case management team, and they'll hold your hand and get you connected to the resources that you need. So we really, we really need everyone to come together to help make this successful. So please reach out to us. And then also if anyone is interested in, talking about, their own nonprofit or have ideas or thoughts, I'm always available as well to help with that. And you can reach out to me personally at Lynda, Lynda, at nextgenstrategicsolutions.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you. I'm excited to share this episode with everybody because I think that it's so amazing what you guys are building in Las Vegas. I'm excited to be a part of all of it as well and try to support you as much as I can in the community. And I appreciate everybody for watching and listening another episode of the Successful Woman's Mindset. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen, and I will see you next time.